So you probably wonder which type of graph should I use for the IA or just in general. Well, it depends on what your data look like. You can have column graph, which look kind of like this. You can have line graph, which look like this. Now the thing with line graph is that you have to have evenly spaced, so say 1, 2, 3, and then you have 3 points, you connect them. X and Y scatter, similar to a line graph, but the spacing is not so evenly. So you can have 1, 2, and then 4, and then you have 3 data points on day 1, day 2, and then day 4. You could even go crazy and do a pie chart. Say this piece of the pie 20%, the rest of it is 80%. Now, what is the point? Why are we using the different kind of graph? Well, column graph is really good to compare, let's say, the shaded first column and the dotted second column. Line graph or scatter graph are both good for a trend. The differences between line graph and scatter graph is that the line graph, because everything is evenly spaced out, let's say if you were to use something that is not evenly spaced out, like this 1, 2, 4 example, this line will be shortened. You use the line graph instead of XY scatter graph. Pie chart is simple. It's only used for percentage. Okay, so let's look at some example. You have some x-axis value, some y-axis value, and some standard deviation. To make a graph, you will highlight the data you want, go to insert. Let's say we look at the column graph first. Well, when you insert, it obviously have graphed both the x-axis and the y-axis in this case. So what we do is we go into data, we change the x-axis to the x value and deleting the other one. Now we have a graph that is y-axis over x-axis. Similarly, we can select this, add a line graph. Once again, it's graphing both x and the y-axis, x and the y value as dependent variables. So what we do is we change the x-axis to the x value, delete the other one data. Now you can notice that line graph and bar graph are very similar to each other. Now XY scatter is completely different from both of the above. Notice when you select 2 column and add XY scatter, it's automatically set your y-axis on the y and the x-axis on the x. And what you can see is, because your x-axis value is more squeezed together, look at this point. The slope is a lot more steeper if you use the XY scatter, which is representing the real change according to time.